The job is now complete, and you can see the outputs of the job in the job completion window if you left your window open. If you did change the window, if you moved back to your home location, you'll be able to access that same job output window by going to this recent runs card, finding the job that is applicable, and just double clicking on it. That takes you back into the output of the job. I ran this job without specifying an output folder, and you can see that all of the outputs of this job are not marked as sensitive files in this file browser window down at the bottom here. That's a problem if you have sensitive data in your project and you're supposed to send it to a sensitive data folder. To fix that, my recommended remedy is to navigate to your member files, where after running the job for the first time, you'll get a jobs folder. And in that jobs folder will be the name of each application you have run. In this case, we've only run the Transcriber application. And all of the outputs of every job that has the default output location will end up in that folder, which means that if you change the characteristic, or at least the sensitivity of this folder, all of the underlying files will inherit this characteristic of sensitivity. And I'm just going to give the reason here that the output files from Transcriber for sensitive audio are also sensitive data, and update that. And you'll notice that the entire Transcriber folder gets the sensitive characteristic, and we can open up that folder and you'll see that the underlying folder and all the files that are in there also inherit that characteristic. Every single job that you run in the Transcriber application will end up in this location with the name of the job you provided as the descriptive characteristic. If you don't provide a name, it'll just get the job number. I recommend providing the name. One way to make sure that you can see what was run recently is to use date naming conventions, where you do year, month, day for the start of all of your job numbers. But we can open up our job folder just to see what the outputs look like. Let's go into our out folder, and you'll see that for all 3 of the files that were in the folder I provided, there are 8 or 9 in this case output files. And that goes all the way down to there. And those 9 files that are in this list include the CSV and new.aud format, docx, JSON for the DOT, specifically for the DOT program, as well as the standard JSON. This standard.json file here is the one that has the most detail, and at least Nikolai has included a number of characteristics from the Whisper model onto the Whisper X model, so you get both the speaker recognition and more of the characteristics, the existing characteristics, out of the Whisper transcription model. The other files here, like SRT, in this case, SRT and VTT are the 2 options that you have for subtexting or subtitling in videos. And then the TSV is a tab separated file, and the TXT just a text file. You can double click the TXT file just to open it up, because uCloud has a text file previewer. You can also do the same, as far as I recall, for the JSON file and the CSV file. They're just a hang of a lot harder to read in this notation. I'll just open up the CSV file because the comma separated values file is a little bit easier to find a demonstration of this speaker recognition element. At the end of each column, so you'll see the column names at the top here, there's a column name called speaker and ID, and the speaker is the one that we are looking for here, which is in this case header speaker and speaker 1, speaker 00, speaker 2, 3, etc., depending on how many there were. In this video there were only 2 speakers. So we've got the speaker information included in a column in a CSV file, which is essentially an Excel file for those who don't use comma separated values very often. Those Excel files can all be downloaded together using this zip file. And if we just click that file once, you can see it's selected it, and at the top there is a download option. I'll click that download option and it will save to my downloads folder. I'll open up that downloads folder and share it with you here on the screen so that you can see what it looks like. If you recall, I saved a folder, at least a transcription password that I needed to remember. I copied and pasted it, and I can enter it, and it exports all of those, or at least it unzips or unarchives all of those files locally on my PC. The CSV file I'll open up locally using MS Excel. Hopefully it will come up on this screen. I'll just bring it across and show you what I was talking about in terms of the speaker column. What's nice here, though, is in the comma separated values format, is that you can see the words that we used. You get the text, exact text, you get the start time and end time, and you get a separate column with the speakers in it. If, say, for example, you get the wrong speaker allocated after sort of halfway through the text, you can select those those values in that column and do a search and replace on those values. So if I do a search for speaker underscore 00, I didn't find what I was looking for. Let me just copy the text here and see whether or not it will help me like that, and paste that in there. Speaker 00. I have the option of switching this to a replace function, and if I need to replace one speaker with another speaker in the remainder of this file, I can just replace with speaker 03, for example, if I know that there was an error all the way down. And then you can do a very quick replacement of who the speaker was here. For those who need to export this to a simpler format like text file or MS Word file, and you want to get that speaker alongside, you can either copy these two columns next to each other and get a table in MS Word, or you can maybe just use a concatenate function. You'll have to find the Danish version of concatenate if you want to use that. But concatenate basically just lets you bind text fields together. So equals concatenate. And then I can choose speaker 1 with a colon and a space and the text that came out. And if we have a look across at that value, I just need to remember to put the quotation marks around it. And you can see that you can get this text field with the combined speaker and words for all of these values here. And then we get these values here, which are just texts that can be copied out with the speaker and the text available, or the text that you need. You can choose if you want to do it one way or the other, but the nice thing with a CSV file or an Excel-like file is that it's easy to edit this data afterwards for all of the values. I am going to switch back to the uCloud window now and then go back to our landing page just to show you that if you want to go into your files, you can either go it via the drives, or you can go again back via the job option over there. One last point that you need to note if you're going to be running these jobs in uCloud is that one job is not dependent on another, which means that you can run one transcriber job for your first set of files, and while that is running, start another job for any other files you have, and so run these jobs in parallel. That's it for now, and hopefully this video was useful for you. And if you need additional information about how to manage projects and so on, please refer to the other videos.